Hey, here's a really weird story. You might remember Fox News host Megyn Kelly, who is no longer a Fox News host. She actually left Fox to much fanfare, I would call it, to much attention, and she got two NBC shows. There was going to be this Sunday night weekend special where, like, on the first or second episode, she interviewed Alex Jones, and it was sort of a letdown that it was going to be this big blockbuster show when she was able to get unhinged conspiracy theorist Alex Jones as one of her primary interviews. And then she has this daytime show, and the daytime show has been total cringe. I mean, an absolute disaster. We've done a few stories about just the terrible ratings and how it was really a pretty bad move for NBC, and that she's just not really the right fit for that sort of daytime, softer, more milquetoast type show. So cut to yesterday, where she did a really odd segment about the hard-hitting topic of Halloween, which is upcoming, and she still managed to say something ridiculous. This is Megyn Santa is White Kelly, and she was reminiscing yesterday about the good old days when she was a kid, when it was fine for white people to wear blackface. Blackface, of course, is the makeup used by a non-black performer playing a black role, and it has a long history of discriminatory intent, and the sort of context of it is pretty disgusting when you understand it. Really hard-hitting segment, and she still manages to get attention for her show for something completely negative. Take a look.
You still be able to dress like a moron.
But what is racist? Because truly, you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface for Halloween, or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween. Like, back when I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up as like a character.
If somebody feels like something is offensive to them, then you should say it, and that's fair game.
Yeah,
and you should be able to take it if you're going to dress up like that.
Yeah, you got to be able to take it.
Yeah.
The all-white panel on her show was weighing in and trying to figure it all out. Even George W. Bush's daughter, later in the same segment, was saying, you know, people should be able to reasonably wear costumes that they want to wear, but you should have some adherence to common sense and decency at some point. So I started looking into Megyn Kelly a little bit. She grew up in Albany, New York. It's sort of difficult to imagine that in the late 70s, early 80s, when she would have been like 9 to 12 or even 14, that blackface was just seen as a lovely thing to do in Albany, New York, right? I don't know.
I mean, there are some racist parts of the North, you'd say, but that doesn't strike me as a particularly racist area. Albany, New York, yeah.
It seems like a culturally revisionist part of the story here. And she later ended up apologizing, like within hours of this going out. Variety reported that she sent an internal email to her colleagues apologizing, which said, quote, "I realize now that such behavior is indeed wrong, and I am sorry. The history of blackface in our culture is abhorrent. The wound's too deep. I've never been a PC kind of person, but I understand that we do need to be more sensitive in this day and age, particularly on race and ethnicity issues, which, far from being healed, have been exacerbated in our politics over the past year." The ugly history of blackface is what's missing from the analysis. It's not about the PC police, which she seems to correctly identify. It's not also about pretending that blackface is the greatest injustice. It's simply not. This is about appearing clueless and making a dumb, unforced error. Imagine being NBC. You pay her untold millions of dollars. Nobody watches this dumb daytime show. There's nothing even being discussed about it because nothing interesting happens. There's finally something that happens that gets people's attention, except it's the host you're paying millions of dollars to, and you lured her away from a job that was probably a better fit for her on Fox News, defending the use of blackface in Halloween costumes.
Right. Even if Megyn Kelly didn't have any ill will behind this comment, you'd think that she would have the PR savvy to know that you don't say that type of thing.
That's exactly right. And blackface is something that was used historically to portray this sort of minstrel show sort of idea. And I would say it is actually different. If a white person is portraying a specific black person, there are situations where makeup can be used to create a more accurate portrayal that would not be reminiscent of this context in which blackface existed. But is this even really a battle we need to fight, right? Like, if the N-word and blackface are part of this horrible history of repression and slavery and discrimination, Can't we just say, you know what, we don't really need blackface?
I
That's
just
it.
think that Megyn Kelly should no longer comment on holidays and holiday
At
customs.
all.
I mean, the Santa is white thing and now
Yes.
the Halloween blackface thing. What has she got to say about Thanksgiving? I don't know.
Was she part of waging against the war on Christmas at Fox News? I don't remember.
Bill
now.
O'Reilly covered it so extensively. I
Yeah.
don't think he even needed
She
her
didn't
to.
even really need to. Yeah, that's right. Today's program brought to you in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. Blinkist is a great service that I use all the time. What they do is they take thousands of the most popular nonfiction books, including the newest bestsellers. They condense them into 15-minute audiobooks that you can listen to, and you still get the most crucial information and insights from each book. And I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. I recently checked out Soccernomics by Simon Cooper. We do have, after all, the World Cup going on recently. We also have been talking about BS Jobs, and there is a great new book, BS Jobs by David Graeber, which I listen to on Blinkist. They're constantly adding new books to the platform. You will never run out of fascinating and critically acclaimed books to enjoy. And our audience can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm putting a link in the video description. And after the free trial, if you like it, you can continue enjoying thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.